We were you once before. We were you not just a month or for a year. We were you just like you were a decade ago, seeking for change but not finding. Here we are today. Thank you again for joining us today in Stamping with Nikki. In Stamping with Nikki, we are always here to inspire, enlighten, and motivate you guys. My name is Oyenike.
And I am Adenike. And to do this once again, it's our pleasure to introduce to you one of us, a nurse working more than 13 years in the nursing industry and a successful digital business owner. It's our pleasure to welcome to our platform, Dustin.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for honoring our insight today. Thank you.
No worries. Glad to be here.
Yes, please briefly introduce yourself to our audience.
Definitely. So my name is Dustin, like you had said. I've been a nurse now for the last 13 years. I currently reside in Calgary, Alberta. And I started my business journey in about 2018, 2019. So I've been doing this for approximately 5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is very impressive.
Thank you.
Wow, as a registered nurse with a long experience, and of course, people always say like nurses are settled, nurses are making income. What make you think about doing online business?
Good question. I think like anybody, no matter the type of job that you have or the career that you have, I think it doesn't matter how successful you are. There are doctors and lawyers in this business, right, as well, and the amount of income they make, could be great. But I think sometimes we kind of miss out on the important pieces of our life, right? Just like family, those holidays, if we have kids, there's those important pieces that we have deep down inside of ourselves. That sometimes we miss out on, right? Because we're just working so much. And I feel like we're always wanting to find something different, try to seek out something more to kind of help ourselves, right? We know that inflation nowadays is becoming so high, its cost of living just gets higher and higher. So I think majority of ourselves are looking for something different on the side to help us, achieve a little bit more success or a little bit more time with family, freedom. I think a lot of us too are a little bit scared, when it comes to what does retirement look like? When we hit 65, will we have enough money in that bank account, right? Do we want to live to 65, especially nowadays, right? Some of us just really want to make an extra income and enjoy ourselves. Yeah. And I find, when it comes to working those long hours, like you guys can relate, or anybody, I feel like sometimes we miss out on those important pieces.
Amazing. I'm glad you brought all of these needs that needs to feel as nurses. We overwork, we work tirelessly, we're so dedicated. So I want to take us a little back, before we became nurses, there were some things that drove us to being a nurse. Maybe compassion, and then you go in, you want to start being a nurse. There are some qualifications, some criteria that you must meet.
Right.
Now, when in regards to our online business, what are those things, that is required of you to bring to the table to be a successful digital business owner?
Well, I mean, it's interesting how you kind of overlap the two, right? I mean, I think we all have different core strengths. We all have different weaknesses, right? So, I think just like nursing, we bring a lot of those core needs to the front, right? So compassion, if we want to be a coach or a mentor, we really need to be compassionate to our downline, time, effort, loyalty is a big one. I mean, loyalty is huge. You want to show up for those people. You want to be there for them when they need your success and support. So I think a lot of those things come to the forefront. Trust. You want those individuals to trust you, to know that you'll show up for them. And I think just like nurses, you have to have that trust, that loyalty, that compassion, that kindness needs to come with it too, And sometimes just like anybody, whether you're a nurse or working as a barista or anything, right? Sometimes we forget about those things. That's okay. We're human. But I think, just like you said, those are some core things that I bring to the forefront or I bring to the table. We get so busy. Sometimes we forget about those little things, but that's okay. Like I said, we're all human. We all have those hiccups. We all do have our weaknesses, but that's what I love about working in an environment where we're working as a group, because, I may have a weakness, but you may have that strength, so we can kind of feed off one another. Right. So I feel like that's an important piece as well.
So Dustin, I really want you, I know you just talked about it, but there's one particular aspect I want us to talk about because it's a big thing when it comes to our kind of online business. and that is integrity.
Mm-hmm.
As nurses, integrity means everything to us. We have our licenses to defend.
Right.
And also now, as digital entrepreneurs, please
Mm-hmm.
enlighten us more about what integrity means in our kind of digital business.
Well, I think just, integrity is a big thing, is just really more so being yourself. Always bring yourself to the forefront, right? Don't try to be someone else. You want to be integral in that piece. And I think that is the most important, not trying to put on that mask or being someone else. I think when you're integral and you kind of are just you, I think that's what attracts a lot of people, and that also comes with fairness. You want to be fair in all aspects, right? So we're all out here, we're all business owners. We all want to be fair. And so I think it's just, being yourself. And like you said, integral, also wraps up those pieces of trust, kindness, compassion, all those things as wrapped up as a whole, right? When you come to integrity. So I'm glad you brought that up. And I think that's important. And like you said, right, us as nurses, we do have that license that we need to protect. But I also think it's important to just be yourself.
Yeah, that is really, it's amazing. Those are good points that you touch base in there, because honestly, we tend to tell people like, this is us, this is us, like, like right here, right now, you are watching us. We are registered nurses. We have nothing to hide. We have nothing to be afraid of, because we are the same kind of a person like them before, that wanted a change, that that was thinking like something is missing somewhere, that like we just know that we need to meet up something. We know that we need to balance something so that we can, see the life that we actually think we deserve,
Right.
seize our value. Talking about value, I honestly, when we talk about this business a lot, and it's just always make me happy. The peaceful, the peaceful that, you have this thing to your own name. It is yours. It is legal. We pay taxes, and of course, if it's not legal, you're not going to find us.
Right, exactly. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't legal, right?
Oh, yes. So, what are the peace mind you always have? What are the peace of mind you always have in the back of your mind when you actually remember that you have this business? How does it feel for you as a registered nurse?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think I've ever been asked that. I don't, obviously, like any job, there's sometimes those ups and downs, right? So we always have those highs and lows. Nothing's going to be just straight linear, right?
Yes.
There's always going to be those highs. Those highs are meeting people like yourself, right? You two, being here and sharing, something that we can kind of relate to, right? You have that passion, you have those values, behind us. We're all passionate about this business, right? So we can share that with one another. Just like being a nurse, you have that value, right? So you can share that with one another, right? I think that's been very supportive and very helpful for me as well. And there is, like you said, there's a little bit of that peace of mind, the peace of mind knowing that, I can have this business, I can have it running in the background. And tonight when I go to work, I can be at work and just focus on work. But also, if I do very well in the business, I always have it in the background where I can kind of pick it up, right? And utilize it too then, but it doesn't have to be something like I always have to be focused on, right? It doesn't need that focus 24/7, where we go to work for 12 hours, we need to be focused at work, and that's the great thing. And the great thing about the business and that flexibility. And I think that's where it gives me that peace of mind, is that, if I want to go visit my mom, today, for 2 hours, well, I don't have to be focused on the business. I can focus on her. But also too, because it's automated and it's so simple and it runs in the background for us, like we always talk about, is that I then get that time with her. And then if something happens in my business, then I can focus on it then after, and I think that relieves a lot of that stress that I think we put upon ourselves when it comes to any job or any career. Mind you, we may have some mentors reaching out to us, or other coaches or other individuals for our help, but that's okay, because we have that passion and that value and know that we want to be there to help those people. And I think that's what's so great about the business,
Awesome. I'm glad you brought out the area of being a coach. For those who are watching us, Dustin is a coach in our community. And so when people are coming in, we tell them that, you don't need to be tech savvy. You have the support, the training side, and you have a coach and a mentor. Now, Coach Dustin, what do you bring to the table when you meet your new business partners? How do you help them?
Yes.
Oh gosh, that's a good question as well, right? So I think there is like the thing with me is that I usually like to kind of meet up with those individuals, within a week after
Mhm.
they, start their business, right? Because there's just so much, there's so much training, which is good. It's step by step. I always try to reach out with them, and I always try to make sure that they are okay. So sometimes it seems like I'm hassling them, but I just want to make sure that these people are okay. They're set up okay. They know where they're going. I also have different groups that I get them a part of, which is great, because that kind of helps them be blended in then, right? They have other people they can relate to. They have other people that will be there to support them as well. If I go MIA, for a little bit to be with, family or at work, I can't always be available, but that's okay because I feel like I set them up to kind of reach out to other individuals to help support them. And then come back to me, I can then help them, right? There is a lot of Zooms that I like to put on as well, the best I can. It's kind of like that up and down linear thing as well, like we discussed, right? And sometimes Zooms are happening all the time, and then it kind of goes down a little bit when people get busy, and then it kind of goes back up again, right? So for me, it's just making sure that the people are not stuck. They're not stuck. They're not sitting in one area for too long without that support.
Yeah.
So I always make sure I say, if you want to call me, if you want to text me, if you want to message me, and I know that people feel bad on their end, but I always push them and say, no, just make sure. I don't want you to sit for 2, 3 hours, 4 hours and not know what you're doing. I want you to reach out. And like you said, that's the great thing about this community, right? We always have people available. If it's not your direct mentor, if it's not a direct coach in that mentality or in that moment, there are people that you can reach out to as well to get that support.
That is right. Wow. You see, guys, you hear the compassion. I feel like the compassion of being a nurse and the business owner is kind of, enter each other, like mixed up right here. And I
Right.
can feel your compassion, and which is really is amazing. If you can feel like you have support that you need it, if you can feel like you're not alone doing something so huge, you feel so content, you feel so at peace, like, at least I have support. I can always have somebody to help me. That is right. Coach Dustin is right. It doesn't necessarily have to be the direct person that bring you into the business, like say, okay, come and be my business partner or something. There is always a help. You are never alone here. There is always somebody to help you along the side. If you have questions, if you needed to do some other thing, we always have a support. So this is amazing. Thank you so much, Coach Dustin.
Of
Wow.
course. You're very welcome.
So I have another question, by the way, mine. I know we just talked about being a coach. Now, when you came in, obviously you weren't a coach. Did you feel like you were prepared enough based on the training side that we have to first be an entrepreneur, to now start become a mentor, and now to being a coach? Did you feel like step by step you were prepared every step of the way?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think we're ever ready. I remember way back in the day, like 13 years ago, when you're getting ready to write your final exam, right? Before you become a nurse, do you really ever feel ready? No, right? And it doesn't matter what you do or how well you feel prepared. It's just never, I don't know if there's ever a right time, so sometimes I always encourage people and tell people, you got to take that leap of faith, get outside your comfort zone, push outside your comfort zone, right? I mean, we get so stuck on the same thing over and over again because we're scared to take that leap, right? But like you said, going back to your question, I don't know if I was ever ready. I don't know. I remember when I began this journey and becoming a business owner, I was going back to school, and I had taken out a student loan right before I began the business. I was like, how am I going to make this work? I don't know if it's going to happen, and I actually, believe it or not, I actually started a business and then I stopped the business. I was like, no, this is not for me. I can't do it. And then 2 days later, I'm like, okay, well, no, I should do this, right? So there's never the right time, we can't say there's ever a right time, right? And the journey, even through this business, there's been lots of highs. There's been lots of highs where this is my main focus. It's like every day you're like, oh yes, this is great. I love that, right? You have that feeling inside yourself. You want to do more. You want it to happen over and over again. And then there's times where it's just like, I don't have any energy. I don't have the time, but again, it's just that you're human, right? So I don't think I was ready to be a coach, but I also feel like I was ready to be a coach. There are times where I feel like sometimes, am I doing enough for my people? Am I doing more than enough for them? And are they being successful as well? And then how does that make me feel if they are or not? So you want to do everything you can to make sure that these people are successful as well, right? Because they're important. They're important individuals as well.
So what do you have to say to those who are just coming in, those who are watching us and they're new, they don't have no clue what the online business is all about? What do you have to say to them?
Well, I mean, for me, I think I was in the same boat. I think I was in the same boat. I don't have any experience. I was never a big social media individual. I never knew how to utilize Facebook, YouTube. Now there's TikTok and there's all these, social media platforms that we're using, right? And things are just growing and becoming bigger and bigger, right? But I didn't know. I had no idea 5-6 years ago on how to use anything. I think back then there was just Facebook and Instagram. There was never this Snapchat, this TikTok. There was nothing like that, right? It was just in the works. So, I don't think there's ever that right feeling, that right time. For me, like I said, it was, I wanted something different. I knew I wanted something on this side. I knew that I could do something more with my life. Not saying that nursing is not a lot, because, we work hard, we go to school, to be a nurse, and nursing is tough, right? But I think we always want something more, so I knew for me, I was like, I'm not sure, like I said, am I ready? But if you don't take that leap, if you don't try, then how do we know? So even if you don't have any experience, that's okay. Our, system is so lucrative. It's so step-by-step. It's so guided with videos that it's not difficult to get set up and running your own business as well. You're never alone. You're never stuck. That's the great thing about the business. But if you have that inclination inside yourself where you're just like, yes, I want to do something more, but I'm scared. Well, how do you know if you don't try? And I think that's where we all get stuck, right? We're little kids sometimes, and we see little kids, trying something, but they're unsure if they're going to do it, right? So it's like they put their foot in the puddle to see if that they're comfortable, and then they take it out, and they put it in and they take it out. But then they, these kids, they just try, right? Yes. They try, they have that confidence to try. They want to try something, right? So they just do it. So I think that's important, and that's the great thing about the system as well, right? You do have a 30-day trial, 30-day package, right, that you get a part of when you join the business. And then, hey, if it's not for you, you just, you just let one of us know, and we just say, okay, great. You don't have to, So that's the great part about this business as well. So you're not forced into anything.
Awesome. Wow. One more question. I'm going to make it plan A and B. Is we're nurses, right? Someone might be looking at us and say, oh, so this business is only for nurses. And we know it's not. What do you have to say to them? And I know you have webinar. My second question, I'm sorry. We do have webinar Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I just want you to shed some light on what to expect when they watch our webinar.
Right. I mean, so, well, I'll answer that question because that's fresh, and then I'll go back to the other one, right? So, but, Tuesdays and Thursdays are the webinar, but the great thing is that let's say a Tuesday comes or a Thursday comes and you're busy working, there's also the replay. There's the replay that these individuals can watch as well if they miss on the live version. The live version is great because you could ask questions and someone will answer your questions, which is perfect. But, what to expect? Well, what to expect is just basically us going through the business, and kind of what it entails. I don't want to go into too much detail about it. We do have the 3 pillars. We do have the 5 income streams that we talk about. We talk about attraction marketing, digital marketing, what that looks like as well. And then we have a lot of testimonials that people, will go on and share, right? Because there's so many different people, so many walks of life. And that's the great thing is because you can see everyone's journey, why they began their business, and, from, starting their business yesterday to people who've been in the business for 7 years, and that's the great thing about that webinar too. That first question, can you ask me the first question again?
I asked that. Looking at us, we're all nurses. Somebody watching us and say, oh, this business is only for nurses.
Right. No, I mean, it's for anybody. It's for anybody. It doesn't matter your walk of life. It doesn't matter if you're nurses. I think, sometimes why people think that it's just for nurses is because of how we brand ourselves, right? We brand ourselves as being nurses ourselves. So that's kind of how we brand ourselves, and that's okay. It's perfect. We are nurses, so we value that, but it's for anybody, it's for any walk of life, whether you're, 20 to 68, 70, any age group, anybody can do the business, right? We have people who are 65 and above who are doing incredible incredible things in this business, right? And we have people who are just starting their journey at 18, and growing their business at so young, they're going to be set up for life, after doing this business, so whether you have little experience in, the online world, whether you come with lots of experience, like you've marketed before, you've done advertising before, great. If you're very not so good with social media, that's okay, because we teach you step by step. If you're amazing at social media, well, perfect, you'll blend right in. But it doesn't matter your walk of life when it comes to this business. We do have people like, who are lawyers, like I said, doctors, legal assistants, teachers, stay-at-home moms, whoever, we have it all. So,
Wow. Wow. That is right. That's right, guys. You heard everything we have been talking about. Thank you so much. For those of you that was watching us, thank you. We appreciate you. For those of you that will be watching us later on, we love you. Thank you. Thank you for your support and your time. Oh my God. Coach Dustin, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. We know that you're busy, but I just have the last words for our audience before we go today, because as our goal is to inspire people, enlighten them, and motivate them, of course. But guys, this is your time. This is your time. The time is now. Become the kind of a person that can create massive wealth and time freedom. Doing this business is not only will make you and give you chances to success that you will never ever imagine yourself. You will also become somebody, the person that you have never ever or even cannot even dream of. There's a lot of rooms to go. There is a lot of chances that you can take, or a lot of opportunity that help you, enhance and realize your value. There's a lot of room to go inside of you and discover the new you as well. So take the opportunity and see exactly how your life can turn around 360 degrees. I want to say thank you so much. We're going to stop here today until we come back again on Stamping with Nikki. Stay blessed, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.